Level 1. The idea. You're somewhere you don't want to be anymore. The thought arrives clean. What if you just left? Not a vacation, not a break from it. Gone. New city, new name. A version of you that nobody can locate or recognize or call. You turn the idea over like a coin. The feeling is real. The plan isn't. Most people stop here. They assume disappearing is dramatic and cinematic and possible with enough nerve. It isn't. It's a system. And like every system, it has levels. Each level costs a specific amount of money. Each one buys a specific amount of actual distance between you and whoever is looking. The price at the bottom is almost nothing. The price at the top is everything you own, and then significantly more. What you get for each price is not what most people expect, and most people spend money on the wrong level entirely. Level 2.0. The emotional exit. You stop answering. You deactivate your accounts. You tell no one where you went. This costs nothing financially. It costs everything you built socially. But your credit history stays. Your name stays. Your social security number stays. Your employer still files your taxes. The IRS still knows you exist. Every database that held your name before you left still holds it. You moved, the record didn't. People do this and call it starting over. It isn't. It's hiding in a new city under your own name. Anyone who wants to find you pays $15 to a background check website. They find you in 4 minutes. You're not gone. You're just elsewhere. The feeling of freedom lasts about 3 weeks. Then the old life starts arriving in your new mailbox. The phone number you didn't give anyone gets a call from someone who knew the number you had before. Level 3, $500. The digital layer. You hire a service to scrub your presence from data brokers. There are over 200 of them. Spokio, White Pages, been verified. Dozens more with names you've never seen. Each one holds your current address, your relatives' names, your phone number, your employment history. The removal service costs $100 to $200 per year. A one-time scrub runs $300 to $500. The problem is the data regenerates. You get removed from one aggregator. They pull from another source. You're back in 3 months. This is maintenance, not disappearance. Your name is still searchable. Your history is still attached. You've made yourself harder to find casually. You haven't made yourself impossible to find professionally. A private investigator charges $75 an hour. At $500 worth of effort on your end, they still find you before lunch. The scrub is useful. It is not sufficient. Those are different things. Level 4, $2,000. The paper layer. You open a P.O. box in a different state. You form an LLC. You route your mail through a registered agent service. You pay for a virtual address in a city you don't live in. None of this is illegal. All of it is intentional misdirection. The costs accumulate quietly. $300 for the company registration, $150 a year for the registered agent, $200 for the mailbox service, $400 for a prepaid phone and a new number with no account history attached. You're building a layer between you and anyone running a search. It's thin, but it exists. What you still don't have is a new identity. You have a shell. You're still you, operating at a remove. A determined process server gets through the shell. A creditor with a judgment gets through it faster. An ex-spouse with a private investigator and a reason to look gets through it in a week. The shell is a delay. It was never a wall. Level 5, $5,000. The gray market begins. This is where the legal category of what you're doing quietly changes. Fraudulent documents exist. A fake driver's license runs $300 to $800 online, depending on the state you want it to reflect and the quality of the product. A forged social security card costs less. Neither one creates a real identity. Both are federal crimes with years attached if discovered. What you actually get is paper that looks credible and fails the first time it's tested by any institution. A traffic stop. A job application that runs E-Verify. An apartment complex with a background screening requirement. The document collapses at the first real checkpoint. Real disappearance at this level meant building on a deceased person's identity. The practice has a name. Ghosting. You find someone who died young. Someone whose number never built a credit file. You build on top of their record. This worked before 1990. The Social Security Administration now cross-references death records in real time. The method is effectively obsolete. The people still selling access to it haven't updated the pitch. Level 6, $25,000. The legal route and its limits. You can legally change your name in every state. Court fees run $150 to $400 depending on the jurisdiction. But a legal name change is a matter of public record. In many states, you are required by law to publish it in a local newspaper. Your old name and your new name appear in the same filing. The connection is preserved in a document anyone can pull. To use a legal name change as actual cover, you file somewhere with minimal publication requirements and low digital indexing of county records. You establish residency. You build the new name slowly over years. New bank accounts, new professional credentials, new references who know you only by the name you chose. Everything fresh underneath the new identity. This takes 2 to 3 years before it feels structurally solid. The costs include legal fees, relocation expenses, and lost professional income during the rebuild period. Most people underestimate the income gap. Credentials don't always transfer under a new name. References from your previous career disappear with the name attached to them. The $25,000 figure is conservative and assumes nothing goes wrong. Level 7. $50,000. Professional disappearance services. They exist. They don't advertise publicly. You find them through privacy forums, through attorneys who work with clients fleeing domestic violence or organized crime, through word of mouth in circles where the topic comes up because it has to. They charge by the project. A full package runs $30,000 to $75,000 depending on complexity and what you need the new identity to withstand. They know which states have the most opaque public records. They know how long it takes to build a credit file that looks organic and doesn't raise flags with lenders. They construct timelines. They create verifiable employment history with businesses that will confirm your work if called. References who answer the phone and give consistent details. The product is a person who didn't exist 5 years ago, but who appears, from the outside, to have always been there. Some of what they build is legal. Some of it isn't. The consultant doesn't clarify which parts are which. You're expected not to ask. Level 8. $100,000 and beyond. The full replacement. At this level, you're not hiding. You're replacing. New legal identity in a jurisdiction with privacy-forward records law. A second citizenship through a legitimate investment program. Portugal's Golden Visa program begins at €280,000 in qualifying investments. Paraguay offers naturalization through documented residency in as little as 3 years with a modest financial commitment and consistent physical presence. A legitimate foreign passport means a legitimate legal existence in a different sovereign system with its own set of rules about what gets shared and with whom. Your old name still exists in the country you left, but you also exist somewhere new, under new law, with papers that hold under real scrutiny. The full cost includes the citizenship investment, attorney fees in multiple jurisdictions, travel, language preparation, and years of genuine residency to make the history look real. $100,000 begins the process. The full expenditure often runs 2 to 3 times that number before it's complete. Level 9. What the system cannot touch. Every level assumes one thing, that what you're hiding from can actually be hidden from. That isn't always true. Debt follows you through your social security number regardless of where you move. Child support enforcement crosses state lines automatically and has since 1998. Federal warrants don't recognize name changes. The IRS maintains information sharing agreements with dozens of countries. A new passport in a new country is not a wall when federal investigators are looking, it is a delay. What disappearing actually buys you depends entirely on what you're running from. A casual stalker, a controlling family, a past reputation in a specific city or industry, a name attached to an embarrassment rather than a crime. For those situations, the middle levels create enough friction that most people stop searching. For anything involving courts, federal agencies, or institutions with investigative authority and motivation, the cost of real permanent distance is higher than most people have access to. And even then, permanent is a relative word. Level 10. The calculation nobody runs first. You think about the money, the timeline, the documents, and the layers, and the new accounts, and the foreign residency, and what it all costs, and whether you have enough or can get enough. That calculation feels concrete. It has numbers in it. Numbers feel solvable. What you don't think about until it's too late to matter is the other cost, the one that isn't denominated in dollars. You start asking the right questions about what you're actually leaving behind. Not the people, not the accounts, not the name, the version of you who created the situation that made the idea feel necessary. That version doesn't get scrubbed. It doesn't get a new social security number, or a foreign passport, or a cover story with 3 references. It gets a new address. The thing that made you want to disappear came from inside the situation. It also lives inside you. The system for disappearing is real. The costs are documented and specific. What the system cannot price is the one thing you cannot change by leaving. That part has no level, and it doesn't care what you paid or how far you went. Level 11, what it actually costs to disappear completely. Add it up. A genuine disappearance. The kind that holds under professional scrutiny, that creates a new legal identity in a stable jurisdiction, with a plausible history and a functional credit file and documents that don't collapse at the first checkpoint, costs between $100,000 and $300,000 when done correctly. Most people don't have $300,000. Most people attempting this spend $2,000 to $5,000 on the wrong tools and end up traceable inside a week. They buy the fraudulent license. They scrub the data brokers. They move 3 states away and use their real name on the lease because the landlord required a background check. The gap between what disappearing costs and what people can spend is where most disappearances fail. Not dramatically, not with a federal agent at the door, just quietly, when someone runs the right search, and the result comes back with a current address and a phone number that still works. Level 12. The opening math, revisited. You're sitting somewhere you don't want to be. The number in your head is what a clean exit would cost. You run it against what you have. The gap is large. The gap is where most people live, between the life they're in and the cost of the life they want to build somewhere else under a name nobody knows yet. The system for disappearing exists because the demand for it never stops. People want out of situations every day. The market responded. Consultants, services, gray market document vendors, citizenship investment programs, privacy attorneys, data removal subscriptions, all of it built to serve the gap between who you are and who you need to become. The system doesn't care why you want to disappear. It just charges you based on how far you need to go. And the further you need to go, the more you find out the price was never really about the documents at all.